Have you ever looked into the face of something so innocent, so harmless, and still felt a chill crawl up your spine? It's a face you've seen 1,000 times, printed on lunchboxes in school cafeterias, dangling from keychains, and smiling from the front of t-shirts worn by millions all over the world. A simple, charming, white cat with a little red bow and no mouth. She's a global icon of friendship and happiness. A symbol of cuteness, so pure it seems untouchable. But behind the smiles, the pastel colors, and the multi-billion-dollar empire, there's a story. A story most people wish they'd never heard. A story that whispers of a desperate pact made in the darkest of shadows. Tonight, we're not just looking at a cute character. We're peeling back the layers of a cultural phenomenon to reveal the rot underneath. We're diving deep into one of Japan's most disturbing and persistent urban legends, the Hello Kitty curse. The official story, the one fed to us, is a sweet, simple tale of a little girl named Kitty White living a happy life in the suburbs of London. But the whispers on the internet, the stories passed down in hushed tones, tell a different tale. A tale that begins not with humpiness, but with unimaginable grief. A tale of a mother's love twisted into a demonic bargain. They say the true origin of this cute little cat lies with the mother in the 1970s. Desperate to save her young daughter from a terminal, untreatable form of mouth cancer. Doctors had given up. Prayers went unanswered. As her child withered away, the mother's desperation led her to a place beyond hope, a place of dark rituals and forbidden promises. It's said she made a pact with a demonic entity, a devil, if you will. The deal was simple, yet monstrous. The demon would cure her daughter, restore her health completely. But in exchange, the mother had to create a character, a global icon that would draw in the children of the world, an idol that would unknowingly serve as a vessel, a symbol for this dark entity to spread its influence. The character would have no mouth, a permanent, silent reminder of the daughter's cancerous affliction, and a chilling symbol of the deal that saved her. The name itself, a greeting to the demonic force she bargained with. Hello, Kitty, a twisted welcome to the devil she invited into our world. Is it just a dark internet myth? A creepy story concocted in the forgotten corners of web forums? Or is there something far more sinister hidden behind that blank, unblinking face? Is the world's most beloved icon of innocence actually a Trojan horse for something ancient and evil? Stick with us as we uncover the terrifying truth you were never meant to know. The story we've found will shock you. You will never look at that little white cat the same way again. Disclaimer. Before we begin, this story is based on online urban legends and creepypasta. It is not connected to, endorsed by, or officially associated with Sanrio or Hello Kitty. All names, events, and interpretations here are part of folklore and internet storytelling, not verified history, but legends. Have a strange way of starting from somewhere, don't they? The legend of the Faceless Cat. It's a story whispered in the shadows, a dark tale that coils around one of the world's most beloved icons. The story begins in Japan, sometime in the early 1970s, long before a certain white cat became a global symbol of kawaii culture. It's a legend most have never heard, and those who know it wish they could forget. According to the legend, there was a mother who lived in a quiet suburb of Tokyo. Her young daughter, no older than 10, had been diagnosed with a severe terminal illness. The details of the disease are lost to time, shrouded in rumor. Some say it was a rare and aggressive form of mouth cancer, sealing her lips shut and robbing her of her voice. Others whisper it was something stranger, a mysterious affliction that made it impossible for her to speak, as if her very ability to form words had been erased. The mother watched her child fade, a slow, silent withering that shattered her world. The hospital became a place of cold, sterile despair. Doctors, with their solemn faces and sympathetic sighs, gave up hope. They offered palliative care, quiet rooms, and the gentle suggestion to prepare for the inevitable. But her mother didn't. She couldn't. How could a mother simply watch her child disappear, desperate and broken? She turned away from the fluorescent lights of hospitals and toward something ancient, something forbidden. Her days became a frantic pilgrimage into the unseen world. She began visiting remote Shinto shrines, praying to forgotten gods who demanded more than simple offerings. She sought out mediums who claimed to speak with spirits, their incense-filled rooms promising little more than cryptic warnings. Her search led her deeper into the fringe, to occult groups rumored to make pacts with dark forces. These were hushed circles, meeting in secret, practicing rituals that balanced on the knife's edge between salvation and damnation. They spoke of entities that listened when all other gods were deaf, beings who could grant miracles for a price. A price, they warned, that was always steeper than one could imagine. Finally, one moonless night, cloaked in desperation, she made a deal. She knelt in a ritual of her own devising, calling out into the void, offering anything and everything she had. And something answered, an ancient, nameless entity, a demon. Some say listened to her pleas. It offered a bargain, the child's life in exchange for a promise. The mother had to create something that would make the world smile, an icon of innocence so adored that millions would unknowingly pay tribute to the dark entity she bargained with, a vessel for its influence disguised as a toy. The deal was struck. The next morning, a miracle. The mother found her daughter sitting up in bed, color in her cheeks, the shadow of death lifted from her face. She was healthy, she was whole, but she was silent, overjoyed and terrified. The mother knew she had to uphold her end of the bargain. She sat down with a pencil and a blank sheet of paper, her hand trembling. She began sketching a small white cat, a simple round face, a bright red bow perched over one ear. It was cute. It was innocent. It was perfect. A global ambassador of happiness, just as she had promised. But when she went to draw the mouth, her hand froze. A cold dread washed over her, a voice that was not her own whispering in the back of her mind. The story says she drew the mouth, and a chilling internal command told her to erase it. She tried again, and again the command came, stronger this time, a psychic force pressing down on her, because the deal demanded silence. The child was saved from a sickness that stole her voice, so the creation born from that pact would have no voice of its own. It would be a symbol of innocence with a hollow secret, a cute, blank slate onto which the world could project its own feelings. A silent idol for a silent demon, adored by millions who would never know the true cost of its creation. The cat had no mouth, a permanent, smiling void, so that the little girl could live. It was a promise sealed in graphite and fear, a silent scream hidden behind the world's most famous, empty smile. The little cat was brought to life through merchandise, and the world fell in love. Its image appeared on lunchboxes, backpacks, and bedroom walls. A global phenomenon was born, a tidal wave of cuteness that swept across continents, leaving a trail of pink and red in its wake. Children's eyes lit up with joy, their small hands clutching plush toys tightly. Parents, eager to please, filled shopping carts with anything bearing that simple, sweet face. But with every product sold, every new fan won, the legend says the mother's pact twisted deeper into the fabric of the world. Each time a child smiled at the little faceless cat, a silent offering was made to the shadows. The mother's bargain grew stronger, its dark roots spreading unseen beneath the cheerful surface of global adoration. Her daughter's condition began to improve, but at a cost. The child, once a pale, frail figure, lost in the sterile white of a hospital gown, started to regain her color. The dark circles under her eyes faded. Her pigtails, once limp and lifeless, seemed to hold a new bounce. Doctors were baffled, calling it a miracle. They couldn't explain the sudden, impossible turnaround. The mother knew, though. She watched her daughter's recovery, not with pure joy, but with a creeping, chilling dread. She recovered, but her voice never returned. The girl who once filled their home with laughter and song was now trapped in a world of profound silence. She would open her mouth, a desperate, pleading look in her eyes, but no sound would emerge. The words were gone, stolen. The mother would hold her, stroking her dark hair, her own heart a hollow drum of guilt and sorrow. She had saved her daughter's life, but had she saved her soul? The child lived, but never spoke another word. She became a ghost in her own life, a silent observer. Her solemn, silent expression was a constant, haunting mirror of the cat's own blank face. At school, other children would chatter and sing, their voices a symphony the girl could only remember. She would trace the outline of the mouthless cat on her notebook, her small finger following the lines, as if trying to understand the price of her own silence. She was there, yet she was not, and the cat with no mouth. It became an eternal reminder, a symbol of silence bought with something far darker than love. As the years passed, the cat's empire expanded. It wasn't just a toy anymore. It was an icon, an ambassador of friendship, a symbol of happiness for millions. Yet, the legend whispers of a different purpose. It suggests that the character was never meant to be a simple cartoon. It was designed as a vessel, a conduit. Its lack of a mouth was not an artistic choice to allow people to project their own feelings onto it, as its creators claimed. It was a lock, a seal. The story goes that the entity the mother bargained with demanded more than just one voice. It sought to feed on the silence of children everywhere. The cat was its instrument. By placing this silent idol in homes across the globe, the entity could subtly draw upon the unspoken fears, the secret sorrows, and the quiet loneliness of children. The more popular the cat became, the wider its net was cast. It was a silent, creeping influence hiding in plain sight behind a facade of innocence. Think about it. A character that never speaks, that only listens. A constant, comforting presence in a child's room. What does it hear in the dead of night? What unspoken wishes and unheard cries does it absorb? The legend claims that this is the true source of its power. It's not a symbol of friendship, but a monument to a deal made in desperation. A deal that continues to be paid, not by one mother, but by a world that embraced her creation without ever knowing the darkness it was born from. Each new piece of merchandise, each new fan is another thread in this global web. A web woven from a mother's desperate prayer and a demon's chilling answer. And at its center sits a little girl, now a woman who walks the earth in total silence. A living testament to the fact that some gifts come at an unimaginable price. The world may see a cute, lovable icon, but in the shadows of the legend, it will always be the mark of a child's stolen voice. As with most legends, the story changes depending on who tells it. The most chilling versions are not whispered in schoolyards, but found scrawled in the forgotten corners of the early internet, in forums that have long since gone dark. They speak not just of a pact, but of a lingering, desperate presence. Some say the little girl, pale and silent in her hospital gown, didn't just inspire the creation. They claim she became a part of it, a part of every single doll that was first stitched together. In these tellings, the mouthless cat isn't just a symbol of her silence, it's a vessel, a way for her to see the world she never could, through a million pairs of plastic, unblinking eyes. Her dark pigtails, her solemn expression, her frail form, they say, her essence was woven into the very fabric of the first plush toys, a silent scream captured in cotton and thread. The creators, desperate to fulfill their side of the bargain, had unknowingly trapped her soul within her own tribute. Others claim the pact had a far more sinister and ongoing cost. The entity, not satisfied with a single soul, demanded more. It demanded an audience. According to these tales, the little girl's spirit doesn't inhabit the dolls, but is instead eternally bound to the entity, forced to watch as it uses her innocent image to draw others in. The mouthless face is a constant reminder of her inability to cry out, to warn the millions who bring the icon into their homes. She is the first victim and a silent witness to all who follow. There are even versions from old chat logs claiming that the girl's original hospital room number 404, was the epicenter of the curse. The room was said to be perpetually cold, and nurses reported seeing the faint outline of a small child sitting on the edge of the empty bed, her dark hair done up in pigtails, just staring at the door. They say any doll brought near that specific wing of the hospital would inexplicably turn its head to face the room, as if drawn by a familiar, sorrowful energy. These digital whispers mutated over time, growing more specific, more terrifying. Users on obscure message boards in the late 90s started sharing personal experiences. They weren't just stories of dolls blinking or moving. They were far more personal. One user described how a vintage doll from the first production run, a gift from their grandmother, would always be found turned away from family photographs, as if in silent judgment. Another posted a frantic message about finding their entire collection of the cat figurines arranged in a perfect circle on their bedroom floor, facing a single child-sized hospital gown they had never seen before. Collectors tell stories of more than just cold spots or faint whispers. They speak of a palpable sense of sadness that clings to the oldest, most worn-out plush toys. A feeling of being watched by something that cannot speak but desperately wants to. They recount waking in the middle of the night to the sound of soft, muffled sobs coming from the display shelf, only for the sound to cease the moment they turn on the lights. Some have even reported seeing the fleeting image of a pale, dark-haired girl in the reflection of the glass cabinets where their collections are kept. Her expression eternally solemn, a silent plea in her vacant eyes. They say she's still there, forever 8 years old, forever trapped, whispering a single, soundless question to anyone who will listen. Will you play with me? Now, here's the truth. Hello Kitty was officially created by designer Yuko Shimizu in 1974 for Sanrio. The name Kitty came from an English word that sounded cute to Japanese ears. The character doesn't have a mouth for a simple reason. Sanrio said they wanted everyone to project their own emotions onto her face. Whether you're happy, sad, or angry, Hello Kitty can feel it with you. So no, there's no proof of a curse, no pact, and no ghostly mother. But that's the beauty and danger of legends. They twist reality until the line between fact and fiction disappears. The reason this legend refuses to die is because of what it represents. It's not just about a cartoon cat. It's about how the human mind turns innocence into fear, about how something pure and joyful can feel uncanny, because deep down, we all know that happiness can't exist without shadow, and perhaps that's why she doesn't speak, because silence, too, tells stories if you listen long enough. This icon of childhood, this beacon of friendship and light, has a darkness clinging to its edges that we can't seem to scrub away. We see its face everywhere, on lunchboxes, on backpacks, on stationery. A symbol so simple, so pure, it feels almost too good to be true. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the story persists because we need it too. We need a crack in the pristine facade to remind us that nothing is ever truly perfect. Think about the central figure in this haunted solemn face confined to the sterile white walls of a hospital. She is the embodiment of stolen youth, a life interrupted. This image strikes a primal chord within us, tapping into our deepest fears about sickness, helplessness, and the loss of innocence. The cat becomes more than just a character. It becomes a vessel for that pain, a silent memorial to a childhood that never had a chance to blossom. It's a story about a desperate bargain made in the dead of night, a mother's love twisted into a demonic pact. The legend is a modern-day fairy tale, a cautionary story for an age saturated with mass-produced happiness. It warns us to look caution the things we blindly adore. It suggests that behind the most cheerful smiles, there can be a silent scream. We are drawn to this darkness because it feels honest. It acknowledges the hidden anxieties that bubble beneath the surface of our picture-perfect lives. The story takes something familiar and comforting and injects it with a drop of pure, unadulterated dread, forcing us to confront the unnerving possibility that our most cherished symbols might be born from our greatest nightmares. This story isn't about a toy. It's about a deal with the devil. It's about a mother's desperation and a daughter's silence. The legend endures because it's a mirror reflecting our own anxieties about the fragility of life and the price of hope. It whispers a chilling truth that sometimes the most innocent faces hide the most terrifying secrets. It's a ghost story for the global age, a haunting reminder that even in a world of bright colors and happy characters, there will always be shadows lurking just out of sight. And that's why we can't look away. We are compelled to stare into the void, to listen to the silence, and to wonder what other stories are waiting to be told. Legends may not always be real, but the fear they create, that's something no one can take away. What started as a desperate prayer in a quiet hospital room, whispered by a mother for her ailing child, has now mutated into something far more sinister. A story that crawled out of the shadows of folklore and found a new, permanent home in the deepest, darkest corners of the internet. It has been twisted and retold, each version adding another layer of grime, another coat of dread to the seemingly innocent face of a cat without a mouth. We are drawn to these tales, aren't we? We seek out the chill that runs down our spine, the quickening of our pulse when the lights go out. We tell ourselves it's just a story, a way to pass the time, to test our own courage. But with every share, every comment, every late-night reading, we breathe new life into it. We feed the very thing we claim to fear. The tale of the little girl in the hospital gown, her pale face and silent lips, becomes more than just words on a screen. It becomes a presence, a thought that lingers long after you've switched off your phone. The original deal, the pact made in the name of love, has long been forgotten, replaced by a modern myth of demonic influence and corporate conspiracy. The truth, if it ever existed, is buried under decades of digital whispers and nightmare fuel. What remains is the icon itself, a blank canvas onto which we project our deepest anxieties. It It's a symbol of childhood innocence corrupted, a cute facade hiding an unspeakable horror. A reminder that sometimes the most terrifying things come in the most disarming packages. This was the creepy Hello Kitty urban legend, a story that began as folklore, but now lives forever on the internet. Would you still smile if you saw her face in the dark?